Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Yalla Salesforce. We will continue our journey with Yalla Salesforce Trail Max. After an amazing journey together, going through different modules from Salesforce Associate Trail Max, we started last session to explore the certification preparation for Salesforce Certified Associate. We started the session going through the exam guide, different sections from the exam, what will be the weight for each section. And then we started to dig more into like every individual section of the exam. We started with the Salesforce ecosystem, exploring what is the Trailblazer community, understanding more about the ecosystem, reviewing what the Salesforce platform is about, and the different aspects of the platform. Then we moved to the second section of the exam, which is the navigation. We dig more in every detail in here for the global search and what the global search is offering, the related list, and the two different types of the related list, either from class experience and page layout. Then we move to the lightning experience with dynamic related list and so on from the app builder. Then we move to the user settings and update all your information, update your locale, update your currency, and configure the email settings for you, put a signature in there. And then after that, we move to the setup part, exploring more about the different aspects of the setup and how can we go to the object manager and see the object details and so on. Finally, we wrapped up with the app launcher, seeing all items and navigating across different apps. We covered as well those great questions, which allowed us to go to the profile, permission sets, and all the other aspects, including the multiple reports and favorites and so on. Today, we're going to continue the navigation and we will continue other sections of the exam guide. All right, so starting in here with the tab, I believe we are all by now familiar with the tab, so let's dismiss this. So this is the tab, which will allow you to even personalize it by moving tabs left and right and so on. The tab, you can create it in here. So you might be creating a custom object, and then for some reason you forget to check the tiny checkbox at the very end, but it's never too late. You can go to here in tabs and create your new tab. But if you are defining a new object and you went in here, custom object, and you put all the details for your custom object, then you will find in here launch a new custom tab wizard after saving the custom object. So this is the way to go in case you want to bundle creating the tab with creating the new custom object. All right, so the starting point for viewing, editing, and entering information for a particular object. Recycle bin. We talked about the recycle bin, part of the classic experience. You will find it here on the left-hand side. However, if we switch back to Lightning, you will find it in the app launcher by writing recycle bin. And the recycle bin, we covered it before, that anything that you deleted, it will remain in here for a couple of days, and then it will be physical delete. So any deletion in Salesforce, it will be starting as a logical delete, since every object in Salesforce has is deleted flag. So if we open an account and we said in here from Salesforce Inspector, show all data, you will find this field in all the objects, standard and custom, and it's a true or false. So if you delete it, it's gonna go for the is deleted in here as true. It will not be visible, but it's still, it will remain within the recycle bin for 14 days. Let's see, delete in Salesforce, how many days in recycle bin? I believe it's 14 days, but 15 days. All right, so it's 15 days by default. So it's gonna remain within the recycle bin for 15 days until it's gonna be physically deleted. You have the option as well to navigate to the recycle bin itself and to say, nope, it's time to either return it back by restoring it or physically deleted. So you have the option for empty or recycle bin. Do not wait for the 15 days and just let's empty it, or you can delete this specific one, or you can restore it back to your org. Accordingly, this is deleted will become back to false instead of true. All right, what else? Object manager. Object manager, a tool that lets admin access object management setting for both standard and custom object. And we are very familiar now. We have the option in here saying go to setup, and from the setup you will find the object manager. Last but not least is the related list, and we talked a lot about the related list. It's any relationship between objects. You will find the related objects in the related list. It can be classic experience using the page layout. It can be a lightning experience using the app builder by adding a dynamic related list or a single related list. Includes details and links to other records. All right. Recycle bin more details, and then object manager. Quick look. So let's see. Did we done that? Nope. So let's do it together quickly. All right. So within here, we have the setup, the same thing. You have the quick find in here. You can search setup. You can see the object manager. You will find this amazing shortcuts and the shortcuts and the carousel in here, which will allow you to jump to the mobile publisher, the Trailblazer community, and finally the most recently used list. So you have all of these options. All right, this create, which is the shortcut, it allow you to create a custom object from here, or it allow you as well to create a custom object from a spreadsheet. So if you have a spreadsheet and you have all the data in there and so on, you can just put it in here and allow to create through using this Excel sheet. Schema builder as well as a shortcut in here, which you have another way as well to get it from here, but this is a shortcut. You will find this carousel in here, which will allow you to jump to different things like app exchange, go to mobile, customize, and so on, and you will find the most recently used things from the setting. Any questions? So far, so good? Perfect. And then you can use for sure this quick find, which will allow you to see anything. So if you are looking for flows, you will find it in here. If you are looking for anything, it's like data imports, anything related to the data masking, identity, single sign-on, if anything that you are thinking of and you need to configure, you will be going in here, do the quick find, and you will find it. We talked about profiles, users, user roles. So if you need anything related to the user, same thing. So user, you will find everything related to user in here. All right. Object manager. Object manager, which will allow you to either to configure a standard object by adding extra custom fields, or create a brand new custom field, click new, and we all already mastering this thing. If you have a field as well, it will allow you to edit. All right, any questions? All right, so let's jump to the quiz. Woohoo! We did the quick look for the setup. Learn how to work with the related list in record and lighting experience. We already did it together last time. Then we will be talking about Salesforce Quick Look. We already done that together. Setup Quick Look, we just did it. Salesforce User Basics, we didn't do this together. So let's scan it and just answer any questions we have. What is Salesforce? We are all very familiar now with Salesforce. Is your customer success platform. It has all of clouds, so help you to sell, service, market, analyze, and connect with your customers. So we are all very familiar with the Salesforce, combining all of these apps in one platform, connecting your data, connecting you with your customers, with your partners. And this is your life before Salesforce, and now your amazing life after having Salesforce. Who see what? All right. Access determines your ability to open and interact with data stored in Salesforce. The data you can create, view, edit, and delete is determined by the setting your admin maintains. So we talked about the sharing settings, org-wide defaults, public, private, profiles, permission sets, and then sharing rules, role hierarchy, all of these great stuff we keep talking about. Collaboration, we talked about Chatter and how can we collaborate within our organization. What is CRM? Stands for Customer Relationship Management, and now we know how to organize our data. We have, it's like an Excel sheet, every tab like an object. Some of them are standard coming out of the box from Salesforce. Some of them are custom, that it's you are tailoring the Salesforce platform for your business needs, for your organization. Now you have columns, which are the fields. You have records in here, which are the rows. You have in here with the classic version called the compact layout with the Lightning App Builder. It's a highlight panel. You have the path. You have the chatter. You have in here related records, notes, attachments. We covered all of these great stuff. After that, we talked about the lead conversion, and every lead will be converted into accounts and contact and optionally opportunity. And we learned as well how to do the mapping between the fields from the object manager. So if we went in here into the lead, you will find that the lead has an extra button, which is not available for everybody, for all the objects. So map lead fields, you will be able to map all of these great stuff. Right. Any questions? Sounds perfect. All right, so let's go to the we made it. Next one. This starting with Lightning experience. We are all very familiar now with the Lightning App Builder and App Manager, where we can create apps and we can create within the App Builder a record page or a home page or an app page, all of these great stuff. Login into Salesforce. How you log into will be determined by the Salesforce admin. You can go, we covered last time that you can go for login.salesforce.com. Login.salesforce.com will take you to the production environment. Or if you are looking for a sandbox, and we talked about the sandbox, which is a playground for development lifecycle. So you have different types of sandboxes within your org, like developer edition, developer pro, partial, full sandboxes. And in order to access it, you need to go to test.salesforce.com. However, you might have a specific domain for your company, and you will find it in here within setup. You will write my domain, and the my domain where will allow you to go a specific domain for your org. So can name it whatever you want, and you can check the availability, and this will be your company specific. You can also enable multi-factor authentication, which will like pump the security to the next level. So you can use your phone to authenticate as well, get a code, and this will allow you to go to the multi-factor authentication. So based on your company setup, all of these options are there. So Salesforce admin set up a user in your Salesforce org. After you do that, you will be receiving a link to verify your account, set your password, and so on. If you want to go to production, you will go to login.salesforce.com, enter the username and password. If you want to go to a sandbox, it's going to be test.salesforce.com. Then you will jump to the home. So if I went in here, sales, here we go. This is the home page. And we learned in the app builder that you can fully customize this page, seeing the system, move components around, and so on. You will find the performance, assistant, news, upcoming events, tasks, and so on. Opportunity workspace. This allows you to see a full 360 picture for this opportunity, from all the activities happening, for the different contact roles, different nodes, products within the opportunity, all the events and the activities happened around this opportunity. You have a sales path, which will allow you where you are from this specific sales cycle. You can follow this specific opportunity. You can collaborate using the chatter. We discussed all of these great things. And then you have the accounts and contacts. And in here, we discussed before that we have different types of accounts accounts are organization, but you can have it as a person account as well. And we have people within those organizations, which will be the contacts, and we are very familiar with that. Then list views, you have in here the list view. You have different view, from split view to the detailed view to the Kanban view. You can pin this list view. You can add filters. You can add charts. All of these fun stuff we discussed before. Kanban view, you will need to know to put which attribute you're gonna group by, and in here we are using the stages, and then you can drag and drop across different stages. Reports and dashboards, we invested good time with the reports and dashboards, and we are very familiar with it. Adding columns, adding filters, add it to a dashboard, and start to play with those number, having everything consolidated real time from your Salesforce data. All right, Salesforce Classic. We just switched back to Salesforce Classic when we were checking the recycle bin, and we are very familiar as well with it. Using Unity Workspace, you can view details on any opportunity, including activity history and next steps, log a call, create tasks, send an email, get coaching details with customizable sales path, quickly see all the details. Yes, so we can do all of the above. For the standard login process, the URL for logging into Salesforce, we just mentioned login.salesforce.com, and they're gonna be test.salesforce.com in case you are talking about the sandbox. And finally, if you have your custom domain, which you configured it from here, from setup, from my domain, we just discussed it. In here, you will have a specific org domain. Key features on homepage: performance chart, activity timeline, sales path, past filters and charts, opportunity workspace, assistant, news, performance chart. Since it's a homepage, so nothing related to the activity timeline, it's all generic things, so it should be assistant, news, and performance chart. We need the next unit. All right, we're gonna continue to the next unit. Last one, with work with your Salesforce admin. What is the Salesforce admin? Is that Salesforce guru, superhero, admin, extraordinary person who makes a lot of great stuff, adding users, configuring custom objects, configuring standard objects, adding your sales path, adding the processes, doing some automation, and all of the great things that Salesforce admin can do. Advice on the best way, customize Salesforce to support the way you work, design automated processes, help your company learn about and adapt new features, work with, gather feedback and make improvement, do reports, do dashboards, do data management. So it's the superhero of Salesforce within the organizations. All right, admins also do administer Salesforce using a special set of permissions only available for sysadmin. Depending on the size of your business and the complexity of Salesforce implementation, the way your company manages your Salesforce org is different from organization to other. Work with your admin, bugs, questions, feature requests, reporting a bug, the outcome, putting the severity, impact, all of these great stuff. Grant login access. You will need to go grant login access in here from the user settings, and you will put in here grant account login access. We usually go there to allow the Salesforce support. If you are opening a ticket with Salesforce support, you need to go here to grant account login access and grant for them access to your org for a certain period. Same thing for the Salesforce administrator. You can give access to your org. And in order to communicate with the Salesforce support, we discussed before that you need to go to the setup and go for the company information, because in order for them to reach to your specific org, you need to provide the uniquely identifier for your org, which is the Salesforce org ID in here. So this org ID will help them to identify your org in order to be able to support it. Other aspect as well that you can, rather than giving the admin access, you can have this option, which is login access policies. And within login access policy, you can put this enabled. Accordingly, all admin will be able to can login as any user. So if you enabled this and you went to a user and you define the user, you will find in here login as will be available. But I need to define for sure my user in order to be able, a new user in order to be able to do login as. Asking questions, collaborating in Salesforce is an incredibly way to search and information, ask questions, feature requests, and the importance of having a super user. Super user are employees who understand the vision and value of Salesforce, so they are passionate about helping their colleagues to achieve what they are looking for. So find in your organization your super user, which will be always looking to help and accommodate your requests. They will be very active within the chatter groups within your organization in order to help each other. Common questions. Before you post your question in Salesforce, check out these popular questions answered on behalf of admins. How do I reset my password? You need to have a guideline for how you put this together. Where do I find stuff that I don't see in the navigation bar? In the navigation bar, the horizontal navigation bar is always at the top of Lightning Experience, so you can access the objects like accounts and so on. And for any reason, if you want to add even a new tab, you can put in here and add more items, which will allow you to add different things in here. All right. App launcher, we are very familiar now with the app launcher. You can go in here, you will find list of apps, and if you need more, you can view all and you will find all the items in here. And if you want to visit App Exchange, it's as well, it will enable you to jump to the App Exchange. Settings, we are very familiar now. Help, you will find a lot of help and training materials, and you can as well go to the training, get support, open a ticket, everything from here. All right, and again, welcome to Salesforce. So let's wrap up this module. We made the Salesforce user basics part of our journey in here, reviewing the user management we already done together. All right, so let's wrap up navigation so we can move on to the next unit. The navigation section makes what percentage? It's in 28%. The navigation section of the exam covers which key topics? Multi-tenant, custom apps, app launcher, and field types. So since it's a navigation, so it's all about the navigation to another apps. So it's an app launcher. We done this unit. All right, any questions? All good? Data model. Right, so let's go for those terminologies again. Objects, setup, object manager. You have standard and custom objects. Lead conversion. We talked about the lead conversion mapping in here, which you can access from leads, and you will have map lead fields. And in the same time, if you are in the sales app and you have a lead and you navigated to one of your great leads and you said, let's convert it, it will allow you to convert it to an existing account or create a new account, contact, and optionally opportunity. Filter types, schema builders. Oh, sorry, field types. Field types, it's from the object manager back in here. So setup, you can even jump to it by saying edit object, and you are already in, and then you will say new. You have different data types in here, either auto numbers or formula fields, which are allowing you to do a raw formula. You have a roll-up summary in case you have a master detail relationship, and you can do a roll-up summary. So you will not have this roll-up summary option unless you have a detail for the object. You have lookup relationship, and you have option as well for master detail relationship, but since we are in a standard object, we don't have the option for master detail relationship. Lookup, we talked about the tightly coupled, loosely coupled, and allowing roll-up summaries, the sharing aspect of it, external lookup relationship. If you have a data outside Salesforce and you need to have an external lookup relationship, checkboxes and the different data types that we discussed back in the data modeling section, which will allow you to have a quality data, high quality data, and enforce the data governance for your data based on the data type. So not everything can be a text. If you have an email and you want to capture only email, so this will have formatting validations when you are trying to save the record. All right. These are the field types. Schema builders, we talked about as well. The schema builder, this is a handy way to get into the schema builder from here or from home to schema builder, which will allow you to see the different relationships. So auto layout, you will be able to see different relationship between objects. As well, you can create custom objects from him by dragging and drop from the element, and within the object as well, you can say, I want to have a lookup, so you can drag it and to the specific object. So now I dragged it to the contact, so it will allow you to create a lookup. Record types. We discussed as well, within every object in here, you can create multiple record types, which will allow you to have different page layout. You can allow to have different pick list values for everyone, for every profile, and so on. So record types, you can create it in here. We agreed as well, part of the, for a specifically account, the person account versus business account, so you will have two different record types and so on, which will allow you to give you different user experience for certain fields you need to capture for a specific record type. You can do it from object manager record types and sit in here, do the new my test record type, and then you will say make it available for which profiles, make it active. Awesome. And then you will say next, and now it's the page layout, which you can say I need this account layout for selected the page layout that user with this profile see for records with this record type. So you have a Venn diagram between the page layout with the persona, which is the profile with this specific record type, and then you would hit save. And within save, after you do that, you will have the bunch of pick list values in here, which will allow you to edit and specify for this specific record type which values of those pick lists are available. Page layout. You can, since we are in here, account, you have the page layouts in here. Account layout, you have different things for, this is maybe assigned for only support layout. This is for support people, this is for sales people, and so on. So within the page layout in here, you can specify different things. Adding the fields, adding the related lists, and adding the actions, and so on. How can we reach to this page layout? Again, we have another option from here, from edit page, because you might be already in the page and you want to see the page layout and you are confused which one is this, the sales, or this is the marketing, or this is the account lead, or the lead layout. So when you go to the details from here, you will be able to easily identify which one I am previewing, so I can easily navigate to where. Security. We had a very great long conversation about the security, talking about profile, permission sets, and then we have this permit. So Salesforce records security permit. Let's see. So data security model, here we go. So you have this great of org-wide default to the role hierarchy, to the sharing rules, and so on. And even if we open it up from platform sharing, you will find it in here within this platform sharing architecture. So everything starts from the user license, which will determine the profile and permission sets that you can assign, and then you go from org-wide default, private, public, read write, public read only, role hierarchy, and if you have master details, so it's controlled by parent, and then you have the role hierarchy, sharing rules, manual sharing, team, and finally territory. When you need more access, you can go You don't have a lot of tools to restrict. So again, keep in mind the least privilege guiding the principle that we keep repeating. So start small, and then you can open up the access based on the need. Since we mentioned in here, we have as well the all right, so here only scoping is available. So you are opening things, and then you are filtering to refine the access. Filter records based on your user needs. Filter by division, brand, records, and owner. Using scoping rules, control the records that you see based on criteria you select. User can still access the record allowed by your sharing settings. So this is just, they can access it, but it's not visible. But there is a restriction rules. Maybe it's just available in the custom object. Let's find out together. So I'm just creating any dummy custom object for now, and I will say save. And in here, yes, we have restriction rules. So it's good. We learned something new together. So restriction rules is one of the tools that will stop your access. It's not like the scoping rules that you still have the access, but it's not visible until you hunt it. The restriction rules will be like taking out access based on certain criteria. We didn't cover it in depth before, but since we are like just talking now about the access, and you have a lot of tools to open access by going through this pyramid that we were talking about in here. This is the tool that will allow you to restrict access using a restriction rule. Filter records based on. Use restriction rule when you want a certain user to only see a specific record. So create new role, and then you will be able to put the criteria for this specific restriction rule. Okay. Back in here, default values, you can specify default values and the data validation rules. All of that is available within the in here. So while you are putting in here new, and let's say I said number, and I hit next, and you can put in here the default value. It can be a flat number like 6, or you can have a formula editor and start putting an advanced formula in here. Finally, the validation rules, which we mentioned that this is part of before saving the records. This validation rule will be enforced in order to block you to save the record in case you are violating certain business rules that you need to define. So this is a high level of all the aspects that the Salesforce exam is expecting you to be familiar with. Not in depth, but at least you understand what you are talking about in here. All right, what happens when a lead is converted? We just mentioned accounts and contacts and optionally opportunity. All right, so let's submit. Perfect. Salesforce Associate wants to display the number of days until an opportunity close on the opportunity report. So you have the close date, and you need to do a math between the difference between today's date and the close date in order to do a row calculation. It's all about doing it formula. Number can store the result, but it cannot do the math. So in order to do the math, you need to have an automation. So it's not an efficient thing. So we need just a formula to in runtime gonna calculate, because you might be changing this date and you want to have this formula to reflect as well the most recent number of days. Right. Salesforce Associate receives a request to make a priority field visible. It should only be visible when the status of the custom object record is set to negotiation. So we need to have a dynamically rendering for a certain fields. Page layout will not allow you to do that. Apex code, it's a back-end processing. It's nothing for the UI. So the only option is a dynamic form. So let's give you a refresher for what I am talking about. So sales, I am in here within the accounts object. I have this amazing layout. I want to have this to be conditional rendering based on conditions. If I went in here, edit object, and I went to the page layout just to see if this will allow me to do a conditional rendering, the answer is no. All the options, either to put it or remove it or make it read only or required. But how about conditional rendering things? So I need to go, instead of edit object, I need to go to edit page. And then I will need to navigate to the details. And from here, I need to upgrade to a dynamic form, because this is one block. It's using still the page layout from the classic version. But if I need to have this full control over my page layout and the details section, I have to upgrade it to a dynamic form. I will say yes, and I need to make it based on the account layout. Finish. Now I have the full control. I can go for this specific field and say, I need to have a field visibility in here, filter, and so on. And I can even have a conditional formatting based on condition, rule sets, and so on. I will also be able to go in here and say, give me a field section. So I can have a new collapsible field section in here with 1 column, 2 columns, and whatever I need. And then I will start add fields here by going to the fields and start dragging and dropping fields into this section. Any questions? So far, so good? Perfect. Last piece, the question number 4. Get Cloudy Consulting handles complaints via phone call to route cases to the correct department support agent. Need to enter a category and subcategory on the case. So we have category and we have subcategories. Cases are often routed to the wrong team because agents select a subcategory that doesn't align with the category. So this is a perfect use case for the dependent pick list. So provide a list of subcategories for each category in a path. Nope. Use a dependent pick list. The answer is absolutely yes. A refresher for the dependent pick list from in here, edit, and I will need to go to edit object. The dependent pick list, if you remember, it can have a related, it can have a pick list to a pick list, or a Boolean to a pick list. So if it's true, show those values. If it's false, show those values, or a full complete pick list like country or category, subcategory, country and states, and so on. And you can define it from here, field dependencies, and you can put the new, and you can pick whatever is the controlling and what is the dependent. And once you do that, you will have this amazing matrix, which you will say, all right, for this hot, I need just high, and for this warm, I need just low, anything. So you can specify this. So you will guarantee that when I pick this guy, I will be automatically only be able to select those specific 2 values. And then after you include values and exclude values, you can again test it by putting in here hot. You should have those 2 options, but I move to the cold. I should be able to only do medium. All right, so this is a pick list category, user dependent pick list. All right. Formulas and validations, dynamic forms, pick list administration. I believe we are all very familiar with all these great things, and we have a dedicated session which we already covered, even these leads and opportunities. So we covered a lot together, guys. Thank you very much for being committed and enjoying our learning journey together. Right, Schema Builder, a tool that allows visualization and edit the data model, object relationships, master detail, lookup relationship, many-to-many relationship. You will not find a many-to-many relationship when you go to the object manager and say, I need to have a relationship. But in order to do a many-to-many relationship, that means you have like this product with this order. Multiple products can be within the same order, and in the same time the order can have multiple products, so it's many-to-many relationship. And since you have only one master detail within the product, so if I said product master detail order, that means that this product can be only with one order. Or if you went to the order and you put a master detail relationship to a product, that means you can have only one product for this order. Again, how can you make it many-to-many? Product can allow multiple orders, and the order can allow multiple products by having the junction object in the middle. This junction object will have the 2 master details, which will allow you to have multiple orders with multiple products and multiple products within multiple orders. So this is the many-to-many relationship. Record types, we discussed the record type used to different business processes, pick list values, page layouts for different user-based on profile, field types like formula, checkbox, date, and so on. Okay, data modeling covered it together. Object relationship overview. We understand now what are the different relationship, master detail, many to many lookup, and so on, and even external lookups. What else? Customize Salesforce object. This is a big project, which we already know everything about it. We covered the standard custom object, pick list, dependent pick list, lookup, formulas, record types, record pages, history tracking, validation rules. We are very familiar with all of these aspects of the platform. Let me remind you, for the history tracking, you can set history tracking in here by enabling the history tracking, and this will allow you to track the history for the fields that you will be picking, knowing that you have only, if I remember right, the up to 20 fields. Number of history tracking fields in Salesforce, if I remember right, it's 20, and if you have shield, it will allow you to up to 50. So it's up to 20 fields for history tracking. Custom fields, quick look. I believe we covered this one as well. No, we didn't cover it, so let's cover it. Custom field. Why customize fields? Again, everything coming out of the box from the CRM, it's a standard field. But if you have a specific business scenario within your organization, which you will need to have a placeholder for it to store it in the database, you will need to have a custom field. So try it yourself. Go to the setup, object manager, news, pick the data type, either one of those data types, which will allow you to store the data, checkbox, currency, date, rich text, and so on. Or you can have some automation here, like auto number, which will be generating a number with every records. Formula, it's a row formula or a roll-up summary, which can do a sum or minimum, maximum for all the related records for this specific, but this is only if it's a master detail. All right. Let's go to the quest. True or false? You can create a custom field only on a standard Salesforce object. The answer is no. It can be with the standard or a custom. Why it's important to define a data type when you create a custom field? Data types determine the dashboard view. Nope. You need to distinguish between different currencies. Nope. The data type determines how the field is formatted, such as by menu, text number, or currency. This is absolutely the right answer. We got the custom field quick look too. Lovely. So data security, we covered it together already. Data modeling, we covered. And finally, the custom Salesforce project, this will be your homework. All right. So we covered a lot of great things together, all of these except the project. All right. Any questions? So good? Lovely. So let's go for the quest. The data model section makes up what percentage of the Salesforce associate? 25%. The data model section of the exam cover, I believe, not filter type, it's a field type. So this is what covered. Global search is part of the navigation. Sandboxes, nope. It's all about the schema builder, which will allow you to do that data modeling. Woo-hoo. We made it. Last part, which was the most recent section we were covering over the last couple of weeks. It's all about reports and dashboards, and let's refresh our minds with the reports. So we covered that the journey starts from the report type. So you have a lot of standard report types in here, and within the report types you will allow which will be the template for you. If you don't have one of those standard templates is enough for you, you can always create a custom report type. You specify what will be your primary object. You put the label in here, put the name, put the category for this specific report type. And now you will go for review all error messages, select a category. I thought I did. I added just an S in here. Perfect. And then you will allow what is the primary object. And now you will be able to add up to 4 layers. So context, and then you specify the intersection, or my primary is regardless I have context or not. And then from the context you can say I need the context with cases only. That means, and then you can add also the activities, for example, in here, and no more ads. So it's 4 layers, remember that. So this is a report types, and then you go from here, go to the reports, and from the reports you will be able to create a new report, pick a standard or a custom report type, and then you will be able to see here all the objects, all the fields, start a report, and start dragging and dropping from the outline to the filters. You can do a formula at the row level. You can add groupings, you can add charts. Once you add groupings in here, you can change the report type from report to join the reports, which will allow you to add another block based on another report. So you can have this side-by-side experience, which will allow you to do a lot of great things. And then once you finish, you can save and run, and you have the folder, which will allow you either to organize things or even to share you control who can access those reports. And then you select your report. Once you have this report in here, you can add it to a dashboard, and you start playing with this dashboard in your here, adding widgets. You can control what are the column chart, bar chart, and a lot of great things that we covered in very depth. Right, so let's go in here. How many custom summary formula field can a report builder report can include? It's 5. Remember those numbers that they might show up in the exam. A sales manager at Get Cloudy Consulting requests access to a report. Access report, it's a folder, period. Share the report folder. All right, a Salesforce associate is using Report Builder to generate a list of open leads. The report has no filter when previewing the data. Not all the expected results are showing up in the Report Builder, because when you are in a report in here and you are just showing here, this is just a sample, but when you run it, it will show you all the data. So only a limited number of records show in a report builder data review. Finally, a Salesforce associate currently use a number of reports to help prioritize their work. What feature should the associate use? Graphically display information from multiple reports in a single screen. So you have a single screen, you have a lot of reports, you want to put them together, you need to have a dashboard in order to put this picture together. All right, formulas and validations, dashboards, report dashboard limits, report dashboard for lightning experience. All of them are great help pages. You can we did it already together. You can have the formula at the report level of, or if you need to have it in the lightning pages as well, accordingly you will need to create it as a formula at the database level, not at the report. So based on the usage for this formula, whether you need to reuse it across different reports, and you need to have it in the lightning pages, and you need all of these great stuff, you need to have it at the database. Subscribe and schedule reports. Once you are in here and we have this great thing of subscribe, you can subscribe saying I need this report every day at 9 a.m, attach it, and so on. Report filters, you have those report filters. So if I did edit, those are the report filters, and you can have some of them are as well. So let's say I need the subject to be equals blah blah blah, and you can look it. So apply, save and run, and when you run, you can have in here saying yes, I can change those ones, but this one is logged, I can't change. The dashboard refresh, so if you have a dashboard, you will be able to see on the very top when it was last refreshed. So you will be able to see that this last refreshed 14 days, you have the option to refresh it so you can get the most recent data. Finally, dashboard filters, edit, you have the option in here to add filters to your dashboard. All right, reports and dashboard, quick look, quick start for reports and dashboards. I believe we already have more than enough knowledge about reports and dashboards. Let's cover the quiz and wrap it up for today. Reports and dashboards section make up 15% of your exam. The reports and dashboards section of the exam cover which key topics: formulas and filters, groups and profiles, profiles and formulas, report filters and groups. I will say formula and filters. No, report filters and groups. Woohoo! We made this together. Any questions before we wrap up? Thank you very much for making the time. It was an amazing journey going through everything related to Salesforce Certified Associate through our journey since we started. We wrapped it up with the certification preparation and can't wait to start a new journey starting from next session with the Salesforce automation and flows. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.